All right, hello, and now we're going to begin one of my technology commentaries, right? We are going to be talking about 3D printing, and we're going to be reacting to a video from 6 months ago, specifically from November 16th, about they are killing Etsy. This is from Leaflit. Let me reload this to make sure that we actually don't have to deal with the stop and skip bullshit that sometimes happens when I leave a page open.
Of 3D printed junk by Carter.
Should not be allowed to make 3D printed crap and pass it off as handmade stuff and sell it.
Wait, what? Oh.
You should not be allowed to make 3D printed crap and pass it off as handmade stuff and sell it at a maker's market.
To be fair, how many people are actually doing this? Right? Who is actually... Oh, I'm covering Leaflit. Hold on, let me change this. Very few people are doing this. A lot of times it's these idiots didn't fucking ask the question and then they made an assumption. And then you know what the phrase is, you know, assumptions make an ass out of you and me kind of deal, right? But let's see. Chicken Tender said, like, oh, hello, Dead Rabbits. Hello, Fushizi. Fushizi says, to be fair, I'm retarded. Seems to be a valid argument for many things, especially nowadays, right? Dead Rabbit says, I was around when digital artists caught flack for using Photoshop, and this is the same thing all over again. Yep. Let's see. Chicken Tender says, Islam is scarier to shit on without some anonymity. I mean, it is. Kianalo says, the funny one for when you react to something that makes us cry again, right? I love those 3D segmented creatures. I do too. Let's see.
Wait, is this just AI? Is this just like AI again?
It fucking is. I'm telling you right now. Look at. There's a lot of lies about a lot of these technologies that are out there that could actually make artists more productive, get them more money in their own pocket, and make them less miserable. But there's a lot of bad information that's misinformation about these technologies, and 3D printing is one of them, right? It's not perfect. None of these technologies are perfect, but it can be used to increase your productivity. I agree with you there, Fushizi. But yeah, so Leaflet has already made the observation, and we're going to see that, yes, there are a lot of the criticisms of AI art are the same criticisms of 3D printing, and it's kind of interesting that these arguments get recycled so much.
Put the 3D printed crap.
I hate coming to conventions nowadays, seeing how much like 3D printed crap people are selling.
This is 3D printed junk.
I noticed a problem. Not enough.
Okay,
people...
well, if it... Okay, well...
Then why did you buy it? If it's 3D printed junk, then why did you buy it?
But who cares? Because if it's the value of the thing. It's the value proposition of the thing, and if people actually want to pay money for it, then that's up to them.
Yeah, as brought up earlier in the chat, those little, like, again, those segmented interlocking dragon designs, I'd fucking buy one of those, right? That shit is cool, right? I don't care if it's made out of this, like, again, degrading plastic. It's like, that's fucking cool, right? You gotta work with what you're given, but, like, 3D printing there's nothing wrong with 3D printing. I can't wait for like 3D metal printing to become commercially viable, right? I want to see the rise of ghost guns, of, you know, designer firearms, right? But anyway.
Are talking about. And it has to do with
get mad, I guess. I don't get it.
Like AI is invading spaces.
Oh god.
He even fucking says it, like AI.
Places that are made for artists and creatives. People who are actually building things. What sent me down.
There's a lot here, right? Like, assuming that the people who are making these 3D printed entity objects aren't the actual designers and molders. Now, granted, they're not always the designers and molders, right? You can find different things for you to download and then 3D print, right? But guess what? Someone had to already go out and 3D model that thing and then make it compatible for a 3D printer for you to print out anyway, right? I have a friend of mine who actually has a 3D printer, and he's trying to learn how to use the 3D printer. And one of the things he did is he printed out, first of all, this is pretty funny, an Agumon cosplaying as Sailor Moon. Fucking funny image, to be perfectly honest, right? But you know, he gave it to me because he knew that because they knew that like I would find it funny, and I did. I'm like, oh, that's a neat little monito, right? And then again, like the same person printed out a 3D printed Hulk, and I'm like, oh, that's nifty. I'm gonna put this with the other 3D objects that I have, right? And oh my god, it's like, yeah, there's not. I don't mind it, right? But it's like, again, it's like someone still had to go in and make that themselves, right? So even if your argument is, well, the person using the printer didn't make it, someone else made this art already and then again set it out there for other people to replicate, right? So it's not as if the whole purpose of the fucking like 3D printed asset isn't to be replicated, and it's not as if the person who made that 3D printed asset in the first place wasn't an artist, right? And it's not as if people who don't make these 3D models also don't print their own shit, right? So it's like, again, there's a lot of nested assumptions already in this critique that are just like not worthy. The critique is not worthy of being respected. Hold on, let me catch up with the chat. So Kionala says, I'm ADHD when it comes to anything arts and crafts, and I want to make stuff with 3D printers. Ball jointed dolls are on top of that list. Oh, that's a good, yeah, right? Let's see. Fushizi says, most people who 3D print proudly say it's 3D printed, not their fault. You can't read. Exactly. That's what I'm fucking saying, right? Oh my god. Yes, and it's just like the people who did the NFTs and the people who did the fucking AI print, the AI art, right? It's like they're very proud that they did the NFT and the AI art, right? And a lot of the arguments for any one of these things are identical to each other when you actually look at them structurally. But anyway, it's not like they're being deceptive. They're not being deceptive. They're going for a particular market, and again, because this person right here on the screen can't fucking read, is not anyone else's problem. If they can't have the common sense to figure out, oh yeah, this isn't actually hand carved, right? You can oftentimes pick up a 3D printed object and realize, oh wait, this is probably 3D printed, right? Again, society changing to accommodate the bottom 2%. Spartanbot says Games Workshop is shifting bricks. Shitting bricks at 3D printing continues to improve. Yeah. Kura says, I would love to be able to make a couple of hand cannons from Destiny. Right. From steel in a 3D printer, lol. Kionala says, I've seen YouTube vids of people using 3D printers to make BJDs and make lovely dolls. Right. Again, the 3D printer makes the artist more productive because now they can, again, make more of the thing that it is they're making, right? And they can make money off of those copies. Kuro says, make some wicked airsoft toys, but alas, we are not that far along yet. Kionella says, I think I found Smuggalana thought it. Let's see. Chicken Tender says, a person I deliver water to has a 3D printed Shrek head with tentacles for the body. That actually sounds pretty fucking tight.
This rabbit hole was something kind of stupid. It was a 3D printed Pokemon that I saw at a vintage store, which is not only vintage, it's also craft stuff. But
well, that seems like a problem of the store. That seems like a problem of false advertisement of the store. If they're actually I don't know. I don't know what the store is saying.
Also, again, is that an assumption you're making about the store? Because oftentimes a store will sell one thing as a primary thing, but then sell other things in an ancillary way, right? Like, let's give an example. Since I live in the South, H-E-B, right? H-E-B is primarily a grocery store, right? You go there to get supplies, to get food. That's the primary thing, right? I need bread. I go to H-E-B to get the bread, whether it, gluten-free for the people who have Crohn's disease, and then you get gluten-filled for the people who don't, right? You go to H-E-B to get cheese, whether it's provolone or Swiss or American. You go to H-E-B to get your fucking, fruit. Again, you go there mostly for food. But you know what else you can get at H-E-B? You can get those religious Catholic candles as well, right? H-E-B is not exactly known for the religious Catholic candle market. They still participate in it, right? Because again, it turns out a lot of these stores sell more than one thing. I go to a comic book store, right? There's a comic book store that I quite like, right? I actually bought some of my omnibus copies from a physical store, right? I bought both copies of Fourth World from that store. The same thing with the original run of the Eternals. I have the Doom Patrol from that store. And you know what else they sell? They sell toys, right? Well, I didn't know that either. Why are you selling toys here? It's a fucking comic book store, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? we're hitting levels of, again, ridiculous sophistry that just should not be respected because it never fucking worked this way in the first place, right? You go to a furniture store, right, and you can buy oftentimes more than just furniture at a furniture store. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? This is a non-complaint. Anyway, but I digress. Let's see. Kionella says, depending on the price, but I wouldn't buy those Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, they're more abstracted, obviously. But, you know, sometimes people like these kinds of, like, more abstracted designs because they almost look like, again, the polys or the tries in, like, a 3D model before the skin, before the actual skin is rendered.
But is the store claiming that this thing is vintage and then putting it up there when it's not? Then that seems like a problem of the store and the false advertisement.
Again, as Leaflit was saying, I don't even know that this is the case because he didn't exactly show the store, didn't show what the store is selling it as, right? Like, again, is that actually a thing that this thing is doing? It's like, oh yeah, we only sell vintage here, or is this an assumption you made about the store, right?
I don't know, has anything to do with the 3D printed thing.
It was something marketed as handmade or artistic, but it's not. It's sloppy.
Did you provide any citations? Because this is another thing that these people always fucking do. They'll say something, but then they won't actually show you the citation.
This is such
There
an
it is.
issue.
There it is, guys. Flop.
I want
The machine is stealing the soul of man. He takes from the sculptor. Right?
you to go to Etsy right now and type in the word dragon. And I swear to God, it is the same 50
Why, did I miss something? But yes, my eyes are a little tired.
fucking dragons over and over and over. You cannot escape this 3D printed garbage. What's also crazy?
But what makes it garbage? Like, let's go back here.
Oh, it is the same 50.
Look at those interlocking dragons, right? That shit's cool. Even the fucking pottery dragon is actually really cool, right? Even though that's like literally the thing right next to it. Yeah, right? It's like, what is the problem here?
Fucking dragons over and over and
Oh, that one with the roses on it's really cool.
over. You can
And hold on. Don't think that I didn't see you bring up the Labubu, right? Well, when I said NFTs are basically hype beasts, and that they sell for the exact reason that hype beasts sell, then like, I'm being disingenuous. But this motherfucker could say the 3D printed, like, again, like, items are comparable to Labubus because people hate Labubus, except for the people who love Labubus. Like, I'm just saying, right? People find value in different things.
You cannot escape this 3D printed garbage. What's also crazy is that when they're not printing dragons, people are printing memes. And I don't know which one is worse because
What's the problem? If someone is going to pay me to print them a meme, why would I not, like, print them the meme, right? This is not exactly that hard, right? Especially because, again, it like, obviously the person who has the 3D printer doesn't necessarily get paid for printing the 3D printed stuff for themselves, right? But if I don't have a 3D printer, but my friend has a 3D printer, and he finds it, and I find a design I want that he has access to, guess what? I could ask him to print it for me, and then I could pay him for his services, right? What's the problem here?
a lot of
Wait, what?
cannot escape this 3D printed
what?
garbage. What's also crazy is that when they're not printing dragons, people are printing memes.
What's wrong with that? That looks awesome, actually. I'd buy that.
Again, this is this.
It's pretty cool. Oh, it looks pretty cool. What do you think, Charlie? It's pretty cool. It's a shark with legs. It's funny. Yeah.
And I don't know which one is worse because a lot of hobbyists
Why is it
do
worse?
Listen, I've
Why is it
probably
worse?
printed things I won't use.
Why is it worse? Why is it worse? Why? This is always my question. Why? Desert Ghost, by the way, thank you for the gift sub. And
It's worse because the 3D printer, again, decentralizes the mode of cultural production. It's, again, the same thing with the AI art stuff, right? Well, the reason it's bad, it's worse, is because it actually is, it is removed from the ability of the, let's be fair, the mainstream art community to be able to control it, right? And that's actually a benefit of it. It's not a bug. Chicken Tender says this looks like a JCD and hobby shop which deals with all kinds of things nerdy and game related. And guess what? 3D printed Pokemon is gaming and nerd related. Yep.
Red Dragon, thank you for the bits. I do sell 3D print. I do admit to some people that my community really sells junk 3D prints. You can find on Cult 3D for free. Well, the thing is like, not everybody has a 3D printer, right?
I just fucking... Okay, I will be honest. I haven't seen this video in like 6 months. So I legitimately don't remember what Leaflit said. So I did pre-watch. But I pre-watched so long ago, I don't remember shit about what Leaflit actually said.
They're really expensive. Even like even nowadays, and this was even worse before. But even nowadays, people don't really have money to buy a 3D printer. So like actually buying like an individual 3D printed object is like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. What is the issue? Like this is such a like. Kionalo says the modelers are often paid to use their designs. That is true, but even if they make their designs free, hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say that they're like let's say they model something and they just put it out in the ether for free, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? If someone makes something and they want to say, "Oh yeah, copy it infinitely as much as you want," that's not an issue. Like that's legitimately not an issue, right? It's a supply and demand issue. This man is just saying, I don't like that there is a demand, so the supply is bad. That's literally all that comes out that he is saying right now.
You know? There's nothing wrong with it. What's the difference? What's the difference between that and like an injection molding thing? Again, the problem is the lie. If they're lying and saying like, well, I made this, by the way, completely by hand, then yeah, obviously that's bad. Right, but if they're saying like, but if a person like, for instance, says like, hey, you know, I just printed this thing. Okay, fair enough. Or if a person says, hey, I actually designed it. I made the thing. You know, this is, I designed it myself and then I 3D printed it. And then like, that's what it is basically. And like, to me, that's like a handmade thing because I actually did make it by hand. I went into like, it's just another medium, right? Shibi Boy, thank you so much for the bits. The only problem with 3D printed stuff is false advertising. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, lying is bad.
But how often is the false advertisement actually a problem, right? Do we have any actual studies that actually trowel through this material and then like actually like counts how many times the issue, the 3D printed products are falsely advertised as handmade, correctly advertised as 3D printed, or just not specified either way, right? So it becomes more of a reading and like site identification issue on part of the customer. Right? Is there any? I highly doubt there's any kind of research into that particular issue. Hello, Road. Let's see. Road says, I'm over here looking for your stream. I see Leaflit in the corner, and I'm like, that's not him. And it is you, shaking my head, right? Kianello says, I wonder if the hater had money and making things harder to get, like he is the sculptor or something. Possibly. I mean, again, the 3D printer took away from the sculptor, just as the regular printer took away from the calligrapher and the scribe, and you know, as the photograph takes away from the oil painter.
It's always bad, right? So it's like, what's the deal with it, right? It's a completely different thing.
It's almost the nebulous issue of a lack of soul, right? A lot of this is like, oh yeah, it wasn't made by a human hand, it was made by the hand of a machine. So no matter how technically proficient it is, there's not really any soul behind it. Which, by the way, was also the critique that many artists gave for digital art, right? People forget that digital art was accused of being theft back in the day when Photoshop and Illustrator were taken off. But you know, we saw what happened. The society collectively told these people, the artists complaining about that, you're wrong, go fuck yourself. And they will do it again.
It's Robin, thank you for the Prime. Disown, thank you so much for the sub. Hi, Leaflet, hope you're doing well. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you. Red Dragon says, 3D printers aren't really expensive anymore. I can buy one for $300. Can you buy a good one, though? Aren't the good ones like $600? And even then, $300 is still a lot of money. For most people, $300 is a lot of money, especially if you're like kind of like lower income. Like 300 is crazy, bro. Like just dropping 300 on like that and then like having to buy the filament, like that's crazy, bro. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, people forget about the filament too, right? You believe it or not, like every other printer, you do run out of filament, and just like you run out of ink in a regular printer, so you have to rebuy it. You have to buy it again and again and again if you keep using it.
I don't know which one is worse because a lot of hobbyists do it. Listen, I've probably printed things I won't use that ended up straight in the landfill, but I mainly want to address a big problem that TikTok has. And it's
Okay,
with
let's hear the
Rock.
problem
The
here.
Rock is not even a good actor. So why are we printing him on broccoli? There's the Rock Knight controller holder.
Dude, that's amazing.
There is Rocketchu,
What's
and
wrong
of
with
course
it?
the Rocktopus.
What's
the crazy
wrong
part
with it?
about the Rocktopus is it's actually kind of a complicated print, like the dragon, which means you will more than likely fail it, and you'll go and just buy it from their Etsy because.
Or you could use it to actually learn how to do the printing, which is almost certainly why it is designed the way it is. But again, he didn't explain an actual objective reason why. It's like, well, he's not even a good actor. Okay, what does that have to do with the issue? Like, legitimately speaking, what does that actually have to do with the point you're making? Right? How does this relate at all to the value or lack thereof of a 3D printed item? Like, notice how this has nothing to do with what he's trying to say.
That's what a lot of this TikTok 3D printing stuff is.
Well, yeah, because you need a good 3D printer. Like, 3D printing is not that simple. People will. This is another issue of people not really understanding how it works. And to be fair, I don't really understand it myself that much. I all of my knowledge of 3D printing is kind of like my mom, basically. My mom has been learning it. That's all. I hear her talk about it. She has videos on her feed, like when we eat dinner, like it auto plays on YouTube on the TV. It just, you know, that's my extent of my knowledge. But with 3D printing, there's especially with like the complexity and like having to do with like you have to have like the right clearances, you have to use the right filaments, and like all of this is like really important, like the right print speeds to the filament, and like that's how you get, like, especially when things have moving parts, it's really, really important to actually have the settings like kind of tuned in for your specific printer. So it's kind of complicated. So like getting someone else to print it for you is you can guarantee basically that you'll have a good result that way.
Yeah, again, it's the people who have never actually used this material, used this technology, then making an assumption about how this technology works. Say, oh, the machine does it all, so it has to be easy. These people have never worked with the machine, because even if you're not working with like a 3D printer, if you've worked with like, okay, I have a bit of a issue because I used to work with machines that worked at angstrom scale, precision, and they're very precise, but you still need to look over them because they do fuck up from time to time, sometimes catastrophically speaking. So yeah, there's that. Hold on, the chat's moving. Okay. Kianala said, I don't get the hate. You can raise your price using the title of made by hand tag and improve it. Yeah. I mean, he admits he prints. Yeah, again, it's kind of interesting, right? What are the odds this guy's salty? He just can't make money off of his own prints, right? Fushizi says, what is that argument? It might not work the very first time, so fuck it, buy it. He's making the pragmatic observation that most people don't have the stomach or the patience to actually learn a new skill. So it's like some people will just try to print it and then fail, and then instead of learning how to do it, just go outsource it to someone else, which is not an argument against the person selling the item. Because guess what? It turns out if someone wants that and it's more effective to just buy it from someone else instead of making it yourself, then guess what? That creates there's a demand, and now the demand has supply, right? So the supply doesn't exist in a vacuum. The supply exists as the result of some kind of market demand, right? So it's a natural part of the market economy. Let's see. Crimson Rain says, I wonder if there was beef in the pottery community when electric kilns came around compared to traditional wood burning ones and such. Probably. So probably someone said it would make everything lazier and easier. Fushizi said half the fun of CNC, including printing, is figuring it out and making it work. Yeah, I would agree. CNC is entirely human program. Yep. Rhodes says there was this guy I talked to like a year ago who was Warhammer player. He said get a small 3D print and print Oh, excuse me. 3D printer and print all your mini-figs for your armies, because it's either $30 for filament or like 500 figures for $300 for 20. Yeah, right. Let's see. Fushizi says, yes, we might use programs like GibScam and stuff, but all the toolpaths are programmed by humans. Agreed. I am livid. The time and effort that goes into even setting up a CNC machinery to do the job you want to is hugely involved. I am aware, right? He is not, but I am aware. Yes, this is, again, I swear to God, the more you look at, like, again, all these technologies that actually make life for the artist easier, if you just learn how to use them, and you'll notice it's the artists who are too lazy or too ineffective who are the ones who bitch about it. Let's see. Kianella says that's why you use simple things to practice and then get complex. What is that argument, right? I would agree.
Or a lot of 3D.
Even humidity is a problem. True. One of the first things my mom built for her 3D printer was those like desiccant ball containers so that like it could lower the humidity like lower, especially because we live in a very humid place.
Intermedia is about that. There is, of course, the open source guys, which we're going to talk about as well, that are awesome. But a lot of the stuff we're seeing on TikTok is just an advertisement to get you to buy it from their shop, which is actually where kind of I discovered the scam in making this video. There's a lot of people selling files. That is a huge market, and they're selling it to people who are hoping to start a 3D printer business. I see tons of TikToks
What's wrong with
telling you to go and buy their files and start printing something, and it's just going to be a cash cow. And then we do have a few people giving the honest reality of a 3D printing business.
Y'all 3D printing dragons and selling them are crazy.
It cost me $20 just in filament alone to print those 3 dragons.
If it's $20 of filament for 3 dragons, in Cookie Cat they usually run $30 a roll. $20 worth of a $30 roll is 66%. So $7 a dragon, like 1 dragon is a quarter of a roll, so 250 grams.
So at $30 a roll, it's costing you just that in materials without markup.
That's not crazy. What he said was 3 days, so 72 hours of that printer running. My cost of electricity here in Michigan, 22 cents a kilowatt hour. So that comes out to $1.60 just to run that printer for the 72 hours. So filament, electrical cost, shipping materials, $11. Just your labor. Bust that up to 16. That is an awful margin.
Yeah, it's terrible.
From just the cost.
This sounds like an issue of, again, not knowing how to budget. Hypocrite that I am, right? It's like an issue of not knowing how to budget, first of all, right? And also not having a plan to start your business, right? It's not like people haven't worked around like the margins like this beforehand and made it work, right? Guess what? They actually planned out how to do this if they wanted to do this for a business, right? And I'm also going to be perfectly honest. I don't imagine. I have a sneaking suspicion some of these numbers are cooked to make the business prospect look worse than it actually is. I'm not entirely sure. I don't do 3D printing. I know people who do who have done 3D printing. I'd have to ask them about it. But, that's just my initial skepticism. Because it's not like this video has given me other reasons to be skeptical of the claims in it.
Cost of 3D printing. What about all the plastic that is
hello there, Draths Hadis. Thank you for the follow.
wasted and just ends up in a landfill? Because, yes.
Can't you recycle that? I thought...
Okay, so here's a counterpoint. I know people who work in the sign industry. The waste is a huge issue in the sign industry, and it's actually not something that can really be reasonably mitigated for, because you have to account for margins of error when you're doing the sign work, right? As someone who's met and talked to people in detail about, for example, the sign industry, about vehicle wrapping, about, again, all of these other, again, practical applications of things like graphic design, it turns out in all of these, there's a lot of waste. You want to know where that waste goes? Well, most of it goes in a landfill, just like any other area of production where there's a lot of waste, right? Just anytime that you have one of these creative, industries, you're going to have waste to consider. It's not avoidable, right?
People recycle that shit.
Yeah, and the thing with the filament is you can actually recycle the filament, from what I understand. Maybe not all of the filament, but the recycling the filament is a thing that is on the table.
Now it works.
A ton of people have 3D printers. I had a 3D printer. not realizing that it's not as easy as plugging and playing a lot of the times. A lot of things will make your prints fail. Actually, it's a giant percentage of prints that fail. And each time that happens,
that's funny.
that is a large amount of plastic waste. So much so that 3D printing is contributing to our already terrible plastic problem on the planet. And
Dude, I don't know about you guys, but I have so much fatigue for the freaking but the planet. But my planet, like, dude, it's always like people always use that, and I'm just so tired of it, bro. I'm so tired of it.
I'm gonna give a really controversial take here. The planet itself actually has no intrinsic value. The planet itself has no intrinsic value. The intrinsic the value that the planet has is derived from the fact that people, use it. The fact that people need it, right? If we were to, for example, diversify the human civilization to include Mars, Ganymede, Venus, what's another one, Europa, let's say, like, and the moon, right? The Earth would still have value to the people on Earth, but Earth probably wouldn't mean as much to a person living on Ganymede, let's be perfectly honest, right? And right now, Ganymede doesn't really matter that much to the people on Earth. The thing that makes Earth valuable is the fact that it is home, right? And it has no intrinsic dignity. It has no intrinsic value, right? Man is what gives the Earth meaning, right? And man has the right to pursue his ends. And capitalism is the method through which man is able to pursue as many of his ends as is possible with as little cost to himself as possible. But that's when it's not bogged down with managerialist, bullshittery. Okay, let's go here. Oh my god, hold on. There's a decent chunk. Let's see. Kionella says, oh my god, math, my enemy. Yeah, fair enough. Bill by the hour, then oh my god, stop with this business math nonsense. You can find ways to reuse, recycle anything. Yep. Let's see. Drathshadis. Saw a couple of your vids, liked them, especially the one where you broke down the Skybrows video, no fox given. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Fushiji said, I'm so fucking tired of climate fuckery. Yeah, I mean, I also remember a number of the claims that were made by climatologists back when I was growing up that never really came to fruition, right? And I have a sneaking suspicion a lot of the claims that are currently being made now just are not going to happen. Just saying, right? It turns out it's really hard to predict the future, and I don't think anyone really is going to successfully predict the future anytime soon. Kionala said, feed the plastic eating bacteria, right? Let's see. Fushizi says the value of the planet is the resources it provides, the space it provides, and sentimental value. All of that comes from human beings. None of that is true without the human beings on it in the first place. The Earth only has value because man is the arbiter of value.
I'm so tired of it. Go build nuclear power plants if you want my planet or something like that. It's just
what are the odds that this person may or may not support nuclear power? What are the odds that this person has any idea what an atomic battery is, right?
so tired of it, bro. Like,
people try to convince you that a lot of these plastics are recyclable. They're not. I actually could only find like one girl on TikTok who recycles her plastic.
Day 3, I am getting...
Is it that she recycles her plastic and or that no one else does? Or is it that the plastics are recyclable? Give me what type of plastics are being used. Notice that they never tell you this, right? What plastic what are the plastics actually used? Why and why not are they recyclable, right?
I'm closer to having recycled filament.
And she takes it from other people and makes things.
I am taking...
I thought you said that it wasn't recyclable. I thought you said the plastic wasn't recyclable. So if it's not recyclable, how is she taking it from other people to then use it herself?
Failed prints that people...
Retrack, thank you so much for this. Sadly, I have all of those rock 3D prints. 3D printers aren't easy to use. Not all 3D printers have the same material. Some are too small, you need space, and a lot of humidity. Like, fuck, yeah. It's true. Like, humidity itself, like, really ruins filament. That's why people do a lot to keep it dry.
Send me and turning them into new recycled PLA that you can use on your 3D printer. So this is
that's cool. That's cool. I love that.
Oh my god, it's almost as if the market came up with the solution, Right? Remember that thing that we were talking about in Nicola's stream about some of the criticisms of AI, like of AI in general, and that like how a lot of the issues have already been solved, right? It's just no one is talking about how the issues are being solved, because it turns out that in a free and capitalist system, when people find a problem, when people see a need, the need eventually gets filled by someone. Yeah, this person apparently took Mr. Bigwell's position of see a need, fill a need, right? Oh my god, it's almost as if the market has a solution, right? It's just maybe some people need to know that the problem exists in the first place, because here's the thing: if you don't know that the problem exists in the first place, that's the reason the solution never gets found. Let's see. Fushizi says, I am especially tired of it because I'm in Canada and the climate bullshit is why I can't afford food right now. Yeah, I mean, the earth exists for man, not the other way around. Kionella says, that girl is awesome for doing what she's doing. I would agree. Fushizi, it's almost like PLA is the thermoplastic, not the thermoset plastic, right?
That's great.
End up in a landfill.
See, this is an amazing solution to this, and like I'm all for this. Basically, like someone like making a business like this, and this is like kind of the innovation of just innovating to like solve problems. I think like this person truly has the right to bitch about landfills. I think because she's actually trying to help the problem rather than just being annoying about it.
Now,
Yeah, and you got to remember, all of these people bitching and moaning about this stuff, right? They they want money to go to solve some of these problems, right? But you know, the issue is like, again, they're not the ones paying the actual fucking bill, right? They demand that everyone else give their time, give their fucking availability, their productivity, their patronage, right, to solve these problems. When again, a lady like her actually does it on her own, right? And hopefully she's making money off of this, because I could definitely see how you could potentially make money off this. And if she can make money off of this, hopefully she is making money off this. But
this is Giga
it runs
Chad.
through my line and becomes new filament that I have on my TikTok shop.
Some people do melt down things and make molds, but that's rare. Actually, it's incredibly rare to recycle anything. Most of the
okay, then the statement you made earlier is a fucking lie, is it not? You just said it's not recyclable, and then you come on and you give an example of a lady recycling the plastics, and then you point out that that these plastics can be used in molds. Oh my god. I hate these fucking pseudo-intellectuals. Anyway. Hello, Captain Rudy. PLA is also plant-based, so what's their problem? Their problem is their control of the culture is slipping from their grasp. Fushizi says thermoplastics are reusable through heat until they break down. Thermoset, once heated, that's it. It's done. Maybe he meant to say that a lot of these plastics are thermoset, but he didn't exactly say it, right? So he's leaving it up to be inferred, which, considering he's the one making the video explaining to us why it's wrong, maybe he should have considered that. Let's see. Kionella says, this hater is showing the counter arguments to his bitching. Yeah. Again, it's like, he literally, did he not? Hold on, I have to rewind this, because I'm pretty sure he just shot his own, like, argument in the foot.
And becomes new filament that I have on my TikTok shop.
Some people do melt down things and make molds.
Again, some people do melt down things and make molds. It's like, brother, what the fuck? You just said it wasn't recyclable. You were describing recycling. Like, what is this?
But that's rare. Actually,
it being rare doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means it isn't done often, usually for like cost reasons. But again, if you can recuperate those costs by selling it to someone who can then make it into a filament and then sell it themselves, right? Maybe you can actually, again, solve this problem. Let's see. Let's see. Fushizi said it's not recyclable. It's recyclable, but that's bad. Just a couple more steps to go. It's recyclable, but that's rare. And it's recyclable, and that's a good thing, right? Let's see. Captain Rudy says all 3D printed printer films can be melted down and remade into new filament rolls. Helps reduce waste and makes for interesting and unique color. That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure, again, like the thermoplastics are not thermal set, right? Because again, Oh my god. I'm glad I have people who actually do 3D printing themselves in the chat, right? Let's see. I'm not reading that, Captain Rudy, right? Nice try. He sounds like a grifter. I would agree. Hello there. Name I cannot... Wait, is that you, Long? No, long time no see. Hold on. I need to check something.
Incredibly rare to recycle anything. Most of this will just end up in the landfill when you try to print the dragon and fail, and then go to Etsy and buy it there anyways.
All 3D printing.
That is not an argument against 3D printing, though. That, like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? This is an incoherent mess, and now that you see it's an incoherent mess. Oh, wait, no. Fang Sheng Miao Meng Dian Zi Shu. I know I butchered that. I have no idea how to read those tones. But welcome. Sussy Bakas, exactly. Fushizi says, yes, thermoplastic is exactly not thermoset. It's by definition a different thing. I think there's a little bit of intentional obfuscation here, but I can't prove it. It's just like a suspicion I have in my bones. But again, he's like, okay, if you can't do it yourself, you're just going to fail and then, like, throw it away. And then you're going to, what was it? And then you're going to, like, go and buy it anyway from someone else. It's like, did the person who's actually printing it and selling it online is doing a service, because they are by definition preventing more people from doing this themselves, because if they weren't doing this, then there would be more of an incentive to learn how to make the 3D print yourself, when instead you could fail once and then decide to just get it instead of failing over and over and over again and wasting all that plastic. So by your own logic, the 3D printer online is still actually doing a service. What the fuck are we doing here? Captain Rudy says, I prefer using PETG filament over PLA, but on multiple print head printer, PLA makes for good supports. Fair. Fushizi says, that is why we have two words, thermoplastic and thermoset. Yeah. Captain Rudy watched 5 consecutive streams and sparked a watch streak. Thank you for your thank you for the streak. I knew it. Okay, hello, Long, right? long time no see, indeed, right? Let's see. I'm not gonna say anything because I'll glow. Yeah, fair enough. That's entirely fair. Let's see. Fushizi says, just because I am retarded and can't make it work, that means you should never try it, and I'm angry. Honestly, that is definitely one way to interpret this.
Dragons and selling them are crazy.
Even if we ignore the cost and the waste, there is just a negative stigma with 3D printing in general. I mean,
yeah. Again, the waste thing doesn't really bother me. Again, I've met and talked to people in the sign industry. The waste issue in the sign industry is real, and it is an issue. But the problem is it's not a solvable issue, right? Again, but I digress. One day maybe I'll be able to get someone in the industry to talk about it on stream. Maybe. I'm not making a promise.
Listen to this guy who owns a 3D printing business.
Yeah, there is a bias against 3D printed products, and even among people who are 3D printer people themselves. Let me give you a concrete example of this bias.
This story is just... It's just history, basically.
Truly, time is a flat circle.
It's like a cycle. It's like, oh boy, here's a new one. Here's a new one. Oh, photography, computers, Photoshop. This is just the newest one, basically. Just people just bitching.
Bias in action.
All the time, man.
Just that this product worked as marketed. The only problem I have is that the product was clearly 3D printed and not injection mold. If I had known I could make this myself, I would have. No.
This seems like a ridiculous complaint, too. It's like, oh yeah, it's 3D printed, but not injection molded. It's like, my brother in Christ. Injection molding is still a machine doing the molding and the creation, and it's still a human being who had to make the 3D injection mold in the first place, and a human being who had to do the modeling for the 3D printer. You are being facetious. You are just, you have a preference. Yes, that you're okay to have a preference, right? I, for example, don't like cubism. But I have other people, but I know people who really love cubism, right? I can't stand it. But, there are other people who do, right? Like, I personally like Art Deco. I like Art Nouveau, right? Like, I like organicism. I don't have a particular. I'm not a big fan of like modularism. So like, let's just talk about like architecture, right? Like, but at the same time, if someone likes modularism but doesn't like organicism or, you know, Art Nouveau or Art Deco, hey, that's fine, right? I mean, these artistic, you know, again, they're meant to fulfill different functions, but yeah. So this is the classic thing of I'm gonna take a subjective complaint and pretend like it's objective. Oh, this is gonna be a lot longer of a video than I thought it was gonna be.
You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
wouldn't-
didn't just go to Thingiverse and download this and push print. I designed it painstakingly.
Now listen.
Yeah.
This guy isn't actually making anything crazy. He makes it sound like he's sculpting like insane Warhammer figurines.
Okay, well, what is he
He's
making?
not. If you go to his website, he's also kind of making junk.
Wait, so hold up. So you're just basically saying that his stuff is shit because you just think it's bad?
Yeah, it's literally the whole, again, the subjective critique masked as an objective criticism. Every fucking time. How often does this happen? Right? Again, my fellows in the AI art community and in the AI music community are absolutely familiar with this fucking, you know, tactic.
That's it. You're basically negging a dude who's trying to be creative and trying to start a business. And you're just saying like his stuff is shit. It's not good. It's shit. I mean, like I don't really see like what's the difference between this and other shit I've seen on Etsy.
He's not. If you go to his website,
What's the difference? A wall stand mount for a home photo? I mean, that seems like a pretty cool thing that anybody could use.
Yeah, it seems like it's actually useful, right? It seems like it's literally like the form is defined, like you know, it meets the function kind of deal. But yeah, okay. Let's see. So Kianalo said it's not solvable yet, like with coal and its waste. Let's see. Captain Rudy says, starting out in 3D printing world is a lot of trial and error and money in figuring out how your printer works and getting it to print properly with what you yourself want to print. Yeah, but that's like any new skill, is it not? Any skill takes time. It is costly in terms of time. And yeah, money is for most people a representation of their time. Kura says, wait. So by his logic, protests need to stop to prevent waste of plastic on the sign and other components. Checkmate. I mean, I would agree, right? Captain Rudy said, my dad gave me my 3D printer and I still had to put a few $100s into it to get it to work the way I want it to. Lots of trial and error. Yeah, again, like, these people don't care about the reality of the situation. It's removed from the hand of man, but it's still under the control of the mind of man. But they place too much emphasis on the hand of man and not his mind, right? Long says, my name comes from the question, do androids dream of electric sheep? Meaning android cat dreams of electric mice. Oh, that's interesting. By the way, do androids dream of electric sheep is a great short story. Let's see. Captain Rudy says, what about Rubik's Cubes? Right. I love most type of art, says Kionala. Kura says, truly a several-sided argument. Edo-sen says, injection mold is more energy/time consuming than 3D printing is better for mass production. Yeah, but let's be fair. How much is it good? Not how much. How plausible is 3D injection molding for, again, an artist, right? Who wants to potentially, what would you say, increase his productivity on his own, right? See, Captain Rudy says 3D printing is the best for doing custom jobs. Yes. Edo said, and for prototyping. Okay. Let's see. Captain Rudy says, then there are those who set up 3D print farms so they can print lots of things at once. I don't really see a problem with that.
And it just has like a nice look to it. He like designed it. I mean, it looks kind of aesthetic, I think. I just don't understand. Like I don't get it. Like, what's the? You've got like a
Leaflit is struggling on the fact that, again, this person is almost certainly working on what I call an apophatic definition of art, right? I can't really do an apophatic reasoning is I can't tell you what something is, but I can tell you what it's not, right? So then I am not subject to being held to my own standard because I don't have to define what something is. We do know, though, we do have a definition for what it's not, though, so I can hold you accountable for that particular issue, right? And this is almost certainly someone who believes that, like, again, like the human spirit is somehow intrinsic to the arts, when it's like, no, it's not. Art is a concretization of a metaphysic. Like, the function of art is nothing more than to be contemplated, right? Like, what practical function does, for example, a song or a painting actually serve? It serves no other function outside of having been contemplating and moving the soul one way or another, right? Either through like being like through dislike, or like what would you call it, like vibing, I guess. But again, you have to contemplate the thing, think about it, right? There has to be some kind of contemplation in the art in order to elicit the effect, right? But yeah, most of these people, they work on an apophatic theory of art, even if they aren't going to directly say it.
Like adapters here, like solving these problems solving problems that people would have with like these different things.
And you know what? Leaflit is right. Like, he's actually solving problems, and if that's the case, we also might just have another example of someone who wants to stand up for the arts, but then again, they're not really standing up for the arts. They're actually arguing for the immiseration of the artist and the customer. Right? Happens all the fucking time.
Much better off made through traditional methods like injection molding, a method that a large portion of the Chinese manufacturing industry has perfected. And before commenters,
so again, as a private individual without access to a a workshop like this, can I do injection molding? How much does an injection molder cost? Let's compare that to the cost of a 3D printer, right? As someone who would potentially have a family business, right, and run it as a family business, which one is more cost effective, the injection molder or the 3D printer? I think that should answer itself.
Wait, what? Hold on.
Tell me how expensive a mold is or what.
What?
Again, these people live in the abstract, right? Well, it's like, oh, abstractly, this is what should be done. But they never really live in the concrete. They never actually have to give the answer to the question. It's like, all right, how much does this cost, right? What is the learning curve, right? How easy is it for me to get this? How easy is it for me to diversify? Because again, injection molding may be better for getting like a 3D like product. But at the same time, the 3D printer gives me the benefit of being able to do more than one thing at one time, right? So there's already a benefit to the 3D printer that the injection molder doesn't have. Because yeah, sure, maybe you can change out the molds in the injection molder, right? But I don't have to have that same limitation of I'm limited to these particular molds under a 3D printer. That alone gives the 3D printer a wide array of versatility that an injection molder doesn't have. And that's just something you can understand, like, just right off the bat.
Wait, literally just... Why not just go to China and get it injection molded? Well, okay.
This person also kind of seems like he's having a bit of an issue with this being, like, a small business thing, right? And I have no problem with there being, like, small businesses that sell little knickknacks, right? You want to guess how women helped, the family make money back in the day, right? Before everyone literally got involved into the same workspaces. A lot of it was literally just making knickknacks and selling those knickknacks. There's nothing wrong with that.
Listen. Creating a thing. Listen, creating a thing and then making a lot of them to keep in stock is a completely different logistical thing than like taking pre-orders, like setting it up so that you have enough funds, you have enough upfront liquid investment money in order to actually buy the injection mold and then buy the minimum print amount, basically, Martyr of Sound, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you. You need to actually have a lot of capital up front in order to like actually keep stock. And not only that, after you do that, now you have to store it somewhere. So like, where do you live? Like, do you live in a place? Do you have enough storage space to actually like store like boxes of these things, in the hope that eventually you'll profit off of them?
Again, the guy making this video does not live in the concrete reality. He lives in his own head, right? He never actually had to ask the question, what are the actual logistical problems of this suggestion I'm giving people? And as Leaflit could see that like right away.
Some people just want to just make it because they get a 3D printer, so that 3D printer is basically saves them on space and also allows them to make things on demand. So that's the reason why you would do that. I mean, like, why do people do print on demand rather than print on demand is like more expensive than like if you were to buy like, you know, thousands of shirts, right? The reason you don't do that, the reason you do print on demand is because it's way it's less of a hassle to have to like actually have the upfront costs and then have the storage space to actually store all that stuff. Like
Ever.
Injected mold, yeah.
It's really not that bad, especially when you consider how much people are spending on print farms and the likes.
Here's how much it cost me to set up a 3D print farm in my house. All right, so I currently...
Well, see, but the thing is those 3D those 3D printers can make anything, and obviously the cost is going to be higher, right? But they can be transformed into making literally anything.
Yeah, so the injection mold may be cheaper to make a specific object, right? But you're going to need a new injection mold for every single new item that you're going to try, whereas you only really need one 3D printer in the same filament to do, again, multiple jobs. So yes, while the injection mold, let's just give them that the injection mold is actually cheaper to make items, it's still cheaper to use the 3D printer because the 3D printer gives you more versatility. Okay, I'm going to catch up with chat because it looks like there's been a bit. Pushizi says, so it's SCP-055? Got it. I have no idea what that is. Captain Rudy says, I personally love the idea of print farms. People have made an entire living off print. I don't have a problem with print farms either. If you can make it work, right? Like, I don't have a problem with any of this. Kionalo says, that's the thing all artists have to balance is quality and price. Yep. Fushizi says the definition of art is literally just SCP-55. Oh, okay, I'll have to look it up. Let's see. Captain Rudy says, you're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece. God damn. That is a real burn. Kionalo says, how high quality can I go before the quality is negligible or out of price ranges where we are willing to pay? Yeah. Captain Rudy says, I'll inject their mold. Long says, yes, in China, some headphone manufacturers typically use 3D printing, plastic printing to customize headphones at large scale. I mean, it would make sense. Kura says, the guy making the video has never once had an original thought. I would agree. Hold on. We got a Billy suggestion. Hold on, I'm going to have to put that in the queue.
Which is different from creating like a single mold that makes a lot of one thing. And having to pay for the sampling, you're going to have the upfront cost to like buy the sample, buy the mold, and then do the production run, and then ship it all the way from China. Right? And that's and guys, I know about this because I sell stuff online. Shop.angelstore.com, by the way.
Based.
New Fumo's coming soon. But we do this as well. So that's how come I know about this.
I have 64 different 3D printers. I have another
This is
4
about
on the way.
flexibility.
They're
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
all the exact same model. Okay, so printers 65 to 68 are on the way right now, but altogether, I've spent over $121,000 on just the printers alone. Now, on top of that, I also had to buy the lighting, the wood shelves, the racking, all of the filament holders, basically everything else that you see there, I either bought or I printed, probably worth another couple $1,000.
Okay, I'm gonna go back for a second to the 3D printed dragons, because that's the real issue within all of this. It's not actually selling the dragon either. It's scamming you into buying a file and promising you're gonna make money. Future Carter here.
Okay, well,
When
I mean, that is a problem.
Finishing this video and
It's not really like a problem, really. It's not really in my opinion, it's not really the person selling the file's problem. It's, I mean, because could you possibly make money off of it? Sure. You could if you like had the right business strategy and stuff like that, right? And it's just a lot of people are retarded. Well, they'll see this and they'll be like, oh, this is an easy way to make a ton of money. So like, well, so you just buy this. It's like...
The problem here is that this would actually make college itself a scam. right? Let's be fair. How many people are told is like, oh yeah, do this, and then you'll be able to make money off the thing you just got a degree in, right? Yeah, most people don't seem to be able to do that, right? So it seems like that's bad advice, and if bad advice happens to be scams, it's an interesting thing to say about college, right? But yeah, no, this happens all the time. People start up businesses, and then most businesses started up that, you know, don't exactly succeed because people don't really realistically evaluate the costs and the risks involved, right? It's especially since if you're going to start a business, you're the one shouldering all the burden, right? And you may have to take out, you know, depending on what you're doing, you may have to take out loans in order to actually get off the ground. But, you know, I digress.
Adding this dragon graphic, my editor found something kind of crazy. If you go to the...
It's basically like, how is it their fault that you're retarded?
Up.
You know, like, I don't know. It's not a promise.
Most
Yeah.
states have them. What is this?
Businesses are always about risk. That's what business is, a risk assessment. And if you make a bad risk assessment, then you get fucked. That's how it's always been forever.
This is literally on a website that is like made for things made in Nebraska. I don't think 3D printed dragons are like unique to Nebraska. During all...
No, but someone in Nebraska can sell 3D print, you know, dragons that they 3D print, right? So like, so by that logic, it's like, should I be upset if I go to like a Japanese restaurant and then they're selling sushi, even though I can get sushi outside of a Japanese establishment? Right? It doesn't seem like sushi is actually unique. It seems like sushi originated in Japan, but it's not really unique to Japan anymore, right? Or what about, like, again, like soup, like ramen soup? Like, that was a Chinese dish, right? Should I be upset that, like, I go to Japan and they're eating ramen when ramen literally is the Japanese pronunciation of a Chinese dish in its name? This is kind of fucking ridiculous, to be perfectly honest, right? And he's like, oh yeah, there's this 3D printer who lives in Nebraska. Like, yeah, sure, you can sell your stuff here. What the fuck is the problem? Again, this seems completely arbitrary. He hasn't actually outlined a objective issue here.
All of this, I actually went down the rabbit hole so far. I found the original lady who designed...
Yeah, but what if it was a Nebraskan dragon?
The dragon. Her name is Cinderwings. She is
a jackalope dragon. There's more jackalopes than people in Nebraska.
A well-known 3D model artist who sells things like the dragon and other toys that are, I guess, cool.
Hi guys, I made a new design and I'm really excited to show you. Normally I make things that are really detailed and this one's really simple and a quick print and really cute. So this is the sketch. I decided to make a tiny wyvern and I planned out all the links and what the tail might look like. This is the model in Blender and this is the first rendition I did. Then I made a test print. So this is the first test print and it's so cute, but I didn't really like how its wings didn't move, so I think it's cute. Another rendition. Looks exactly the same except I added loops on the wings to give them movement. And here is the new model.
She sells commercial licenses, and according to Google, she makes a lot of money doing so. I refuse to believe, though, that a lot of these people on TikTok or Etsy are actually buying her licenses. There is so many of them that you can't convince me they are. Also,
yeah.
I would like to point out, and I don't know what Leaflit's position on this is, but I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. I actually think copyright has been a detriment to the human race, to be perfectly honest. I think it has caused significantly more harm than good. And I plan to do a commentary on a video about copyleft, which is an alternative to copyright. And yes, I know, right, left, pun, you know, but objectively speaking, copyright has literally more benefit to a leftist worldview than copyleft does. And copyleft actually has more benefit for a right-wing worldview, ironically enough. And we'll get there when we get there. But long story short, intellectual property has been an absolute disaster for the human race. Like, again, all these large companies, they get big by using other people's intellectual property, right? You know, like Disney's like, oh yeah, let's do Beauty and the Beast, right? Let's make our own version of Beauty and the Beast. Let's make our own version of the, you know, the Little Mermaid fairy tale. Let's make our own version of Mulan, right? Let's make our own version of the fucking Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Let's make our own version of the story of Heracles. Let's make our own version of like any one of these other like classic stories that are not copyrightable because again they're so old, which by the way already undermines the entire point of like property because property doesn't expire. But anyway, I digress, right? And also again, property and ownership is the result of scarcity, right? The whole point of property is that, of ownership is the idea that, again, scarce resources need a final arbiter of how they're used in the case of a dispute on how to use that property, right? And it turns out ideas are not scarce. So, again, I have a lot of issues with this entire argument that it sounds like he's about to start up with. But, that's just because, again, almost certainly leftist inflected American.
Yeah,
or Australian. I don't fucking know.
Piracy is a thing.
I haven't heard an oi cunt, so I don't think he's a real Australian.
Yeah, I know. We know.
So that's what a lot of people are doing. They're stealing designs from people like Cinderwings and then selling them to other people.
So I start every morning.
Yeah, if you're selling a thing that is basically a static digital product and it can be copied, then people will copy it.
Yeah, that part should be also if you put the fucking like designs, if you put the actual 3D files online, people will copy them, right? This is not that hard. This should be fucking really intuitively obvious to anyone who actually uses the web.
Or bad actors. There's always bad people that will do that. Yeah, sure. True.
Looking at the newest files on Cult 3D, and I just sit and scroll through all the new ones, and then this pops up. And I know this design, this is MacGyver's octopus, and someone is selling his octopus, or not selling it, but giving it away for free, and 36 people have already downloaded it for free.
Yeah.
That's not okay. It's his design to sell. He owns it.
I agree.
Nobody else should be able to sell it unless he states.
I don't know if Cinderwings knew her design would get so popular or if she's aware of people re-uploading it and selling it without a license. Cinderwings is one of many people who sell the STL files. The difference with her is I've never explicitly told her that that's going to make you money because like a lot of things within 3D printing, there's a ton of get-rich-quick scammers, which brings me to...
I mean, there's that in every single industry has that. I should totally do that, guys. That's going to be my new grift. That's going to be my new grift chat. I'm going to tell you how you can get rich. You in chat. You can get rich making Fumos, and I will teach you how to do it. I have a workflow for how you can make your Fumo dreams a reality.
So this man literally just saw there were some bad actors in this particular industry and decided the entire industry is bad. Okay. We're truly dealing with an intellectual giant here, right? Anyway, let's catch up with the chat, right? Okay. So Fushizi says SCP-55 is the quintessential anti-meme. You cannot describe it, remember anything about it, or what it is. You cannot interact with it. You can watch it, but you will never know what it is, and the only info you can remember is what it is not. Captain Rudy says, sounds like the SCP version of the game. Kielanala says, isn't most 3D prints fairly sturdy if you're not stupid about keeping the end product? Don't keep it in the sun like all plastic items. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. If you take care of it, it'll last longer, like anything else. Fushizi says, the go-to description of SC-55 is that it's not round. Captain Rudy, Fushizi says, at Captain Rudy, it is literally an SCP from the SCP Wiki lol. Captain Rudy says, at Fushizi, I'm not doubting that. Lol, have you ever played the game? Okay, well, they're talking about the game right there. Hello, Space Phantom Ranger. Now it's good to know that you can use a part made off a 3D printer to make a mold. Lots of people who do metal/melt cast videos on YouTube do. I mean, yeah, actually, that's a pretty good point. We can now use 3D printers to make molds for mold injection. So now it seems like, again, there's still a benefit to getting the 3D printer, right? Let's see. Kionella says, it's cool dragon. It's a cool dragon. Yeah. Captain Rudy says, okay, they're still talking about SCP. Okay, it's storming outside, so hopefully I can get through this before my internet cuts out. On Keldan says, if we're talking about Japan, we need to talk about Ado. Oh my god, yes, Ado. Oh, I love her art. I love her fucking music. Captain Rudy says, I hear she's a rock star. Fushizi says, that's... Okay, they're still talking about SCP. On Kel says, because goddamn the voice on that girl. I right. Oh my god. Captain Rudy says, by the way, what was up with people accusing Adu of getting plastic surgery after her face reveal? Well, that's kind of petty. That's ridiculous. Let's see. Onkel says Reddit talk as always. Yeah. Captain Rudy says, I know, I was just confused. Like, she literally just revealed her face. How the fuck do they know if she has plastic surgery? God forbid she's a physically attractive woman. Let's see. Onkel said she did like a little side profile reveal since she's now comfortable with herself, and people went crazy with it. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't even care about how she looks, but her voice, though, that shit is angelic. Yep. Hello, Cube Con Queso. Oi, cunt. Let's see. Onkel says, I listen to a lot of different music, metal mostly, but even I became an Adu fan after Crime and Punishment, right? Kubcon Queso says, been in the room for less than 15 seconds and Twitch slapping you with ads, for fuck's sake. Right. Let's see. Captain Rudy says, automod. Let's see. Kuro says, China does not have copyright laws, last I checked. Could be wrong. I think it's more along the lines of, like, China doesn't respect the copyright laws of other countries under certain circumstances, right? It's a bit of an issue that god damn it, Rudy. It's one of those more complicated issues. Fushizi says they don't. It's fully Wild West and I'm kind of jelly. Me too, super jealous. Let's see. Kubcon Queso says China has laws but lacks enforcement with each business. Factory is CCP infested. We have no protection. Well, then it's not CCP infested. It's like what happened in Germany in World War II and in like Italy during World War II, right? The party actually is the real owner of the business. So it's not infested with it. It literally owns the business. Kionala says the bad actors and everything. Yes. Fushizi says Lost PLA casting is an entire industry of its own. Onkel says, Adu Rebellion gets me pumped up for any game. Fushizi says, wait, it's storming here too. Are you in Canada? No, I am in Texas. That's about as close as anything I'm telling anyone about where I am. Let's see. Bukhele says, 5, fair enough. Counted 5 drinks. Now I'm going to have to stop saying that. I don't want anyone to get drunk on my watch, right? I believe he's Texan. Yes, I am. It's storming here in Minnesota too. You almost had to take another shot. All right, back to the video.
We're gonna do it.
Might not be one of those, but
also the thing about this is it's not always a quick get rich quick scheme too. It's like sometimes people just don't understand what they're getting into when fucking like they try to start up anything at all, right? And things just blow up way out of hand. That's just a thing that happens, right? It doesn't mean that what they were getting into is a scam. Oh no, my venture in X, Y, or Z capacity didn't pan out the way I wanted to. It was very clearly a scam. Fuck off, right? Like, I hate this fucking, like, oh my god. I hate this scope.
Gives the vibes of it.
Made $347,000 selling.
Road Dragon, thank you for the bits. I have most of her 3D printed dragons. They cost like $3 each. The commercial license is a separate charge. We have the option to get via Patreon. And most of them are dirt cheap, like $1 to $5 a month. Yeah. I definitely think that's a cool thing that she's doing. Like I think that's really cool. And it's like it's a cool exchange. It's like you buy.
But the problem is like again, you can find any anime or movie or TV show pirated online. You can find any comic pirated online. So what makes you think that if you put your digital files out there, that they're not going to be pirated?
The design from her, but I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that are gonna pirate it, right? There's going to be assholes that do that. There's always going to be people that do that. There's nothing you could do about it except for like maybe.
Now, I have controversial opinions about piracy, but we'll get to there in a later stream as well. I don't really think people understand when I say like I'm a lot more radical on some of this material than people think. Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm probably gonna like shock a couple people what my opinions are on some of this stuff.
Like you do it as a subscription, where you'll release the. You have to have like some kind of ongoing thing, or provide some kind of value that or make it so easy that people don't pirate it. Like those are like the ways around it. This guy just thanks, Scuttle.
Yeah, to be fair, just so I can give a slight taste, I actually don't think there's anything immoral in piracy because, again, I don't believe in intellectual property as a valid type of property in the first place. So,
well, thank you.
These 3D printed spheres on Etsy. What are these spheres and how can you sell them? So it's actually a 3D printed moon lamp, and I've made one for every single planet. These are definitely the most complex and cool things I've ever designed, and I just made all the files available to every single person who signs up to my Patreon.
So this is...
And again, you made it to where, again, it's actually possible to pirate your designs.
ForgeCore. He's pretty well known on TikTok for selling 3D designs, on his Patreon and other things. And of course, he's going to have a ton of referrals. He's going to show you how well they sell or how much money he made, like he did in that TikTok, and then convince you that you can do the same thing. I dove into Etsy scrolling these.
Well, the problem is like the more people that sell it, you're going to have more competition, and then it's going to drive the price down for it, and your margins are going to be less.
Yep. Again, the more supply there is, again, supply and demand, right?
It's just how everything is.
Planet listings. And something I noticed that's kind of weird is, first of all, none of them are his store. I looked, I couldn't find like a ForgeCore.
Oh, there's stolen material on Etsy? You mean like there's stolen art on Etsy? No, you don't say. It's not as if Etsy isn't fucking known for piracy. I fucking hate this criticism. Etsy is known for, again, just being, because this is the problem with any store that allows individuals to come in and sell whatever the hell they want to, right? Is you can find this on Amazon too. You can find stolen, quote unquote, intellectual property being sold in Amazon as well. You can find it on eBay. This is not an Etsy problem. This is if you allow this to happen, because just mechanically speaking, it's going to happen problem.
Store. But it is a lot of people using the exact same watermarks and pictures, selling the same planet. So I'm gonna guess that's him, because 3D prints aren't necessarily hard and so many people have them that why wouldn't you just...
3D prints aren't necessarily hard, but let's forget the part where we said earlier that like you're gonna give up trying to do the 3D print. You're just gonna buy it from someone else anyway.
Take your own pictures. I wouldn't doubt that he makes $347,000 or whatever, but my guess is it's from...
Well, I mean, I guess we don't know if he allows them to use the pictures. I mean, you know,
the Patreon that he plugs and a ton of his TikToks right at the end after he's convinced you that 3D printing is a viable business.
And I just made all the files available to every single person who signs up to my Patreon. If you want the STL files for this, I have it on my Patreon.
Well, I mean, if he's literally making money and like succeeding during doing 3D printing, then 3D printing is a viable business. Is it a viable business for you and your circumstances? That's a different question.
So please,
I mean,
but that's also not a thing he can really gauge.
Hold on. I mean, I'm sure you could make it a viable business. Like I don't.
He literally, again, just gave him. He literally just gave this guy the for devil's advocate. Okay, yeah, let's assume he succeeds. By definition, it is a viable business, right?
I don't get why it wouldn't be. I guess you just have to. It's just like this is another just method. It's another method, but it's not like. How do I explain it? It's a means of business, basically, right? It's a means of business, and you have to figure out how to make it work for you, right? It's not like the total answer. It's not the panacea to your problems of
panacea
wanting to be a business owner.
Comment what you think I should make them be.
Every single industry has gurus telling you that you can get rich quick. It's not unique. And when it comes to a lot of these things that ForgeCore is telling you are going to make you a lot of money, the reality is these markets are already taken over using way more efficient methods. Because look, I found the Alibaba listing of almost nearly an identical thing. Not to say that they didn't take it from him, but I don't think he necessarily came up with the idea of a planet light. Due to people like ForgeCore.
All you gotta do, chat, is that you get the design, right? You buy the design, you print it, and you put made in America. 100% made in America.
For all these people trying to clamor and start a 3D printing business are now invading spaces.
Put a fucking American flag on there and an eagle. You know what I mean? Yeah, made in the USA.
meant for
That's
3D
right.
printers. They're using it as a shortcut to get into crafts fairs, farmers markets, and conventions. Grabbing a file, hitting
To be honest, I don't really care because I want to see more stuff at farmers markets. I go to farmers markets myself, and I want to see more stalls. I want more stuff to buy, you know.
And then printing it off doesn't make you Michelangelo. In the same way.
Ooh, yeah, this is fucking absolutely projection. No one is actually saying this. This is something you came up with in your own head. And, like, I don't understand why you need to, again, put things in people's mouths. But, you know, it is what it is.
Nobody said it did.
AI doesn't either.
Wait, what?
The same way that using AI doesn't either.
Shadow the Hedgehog fills the Chicago Bean with Hot Ones hot sauce to celebrate the 4th of July and the Costco guys. Yeah, but see, like, this wouldn't exist without the person who made that. Like, it's quite a vision.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you just hit, again, random seed generation, let's say you gave one of these things, like, the ability to just, like, do a random seed generation, you would never get this image. Like, it would never happen. So, again, this is kind of, like, self-defeating, because, again, you still need a human being to actually do this. But also, just to point this out, right, because I'm going to be a little petty right now, right? Well, that was a flash of my light, so let's hope that I don't actually crash in the middle of the stream, right? Because that would be funny, but, I think there's a substantial difference between that shadow picture and, for example, this, right? Far be it from me from, like, pointing that out, right? But let's go for another one, right? Let's go for another one that it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, it really is what you make of it, right? I think this is substantially a different category of, like, aesthetic, you know, evaluation than the Sonic the Hedgehog thing we just the Shadow the Hedgehog thing we just saw, or again, this right here. I think it took a little bit more effort to make this than it did that, but, you know, I digress, right? None of those would have been made by random seed generation. You kind of needed a human being to get all that. So before we go, let's catch up with the chat. So Italy World War II was just there for vibes. They didn't do shit. I mean, they did, just they were the least effective, right? They were the first to fall, yeah. Kubcon Queso says, correct, they have the final say in every aspect, so even if you have a great team of lawyers saying don't steal this, they can use CCP magic to say, but we are a developing nation. Oh no, they just tell you it's not, that, you know, you don't have any say in our country because your laws don't apply here. Also, I think China is one of the countries on the Security Council, so they can just veto any kind of, like, UN action, right? Let's see. Kianella says, I'm in Texas. That narrows it down a little. Oh, so little, right? Caprudi says, hey, Texas, do you personally know X count? Yeah, no, right? Let's see. Kubcon Castle says, thank you. I pulled that song up. I do love me a good hype song. Ooh, nice. Let's see. Onkel says they got F'd at every battle they had and needed German troops to support them, and somehow still lost. Let's see, does X count live in Texas too? Yes, he confirmed it. Exactly, they drained precious resources and made our job easier. Like, at Fushizi, yeah, right, Italy has always been a drain on any side they fought with, to be perfectly honest. Chicken Tender says, fair enough. I thought he had a gun for a demo mat, but I didn't know where he lived. Oh my god, there's so many. Texas Sweetie Pie VTuber. IS, the single shot 762 by 39 millimeter AK pistol. Intellectual property is a thing, but as soon as you make it too expensive for normal people to buy it, then get fucked. We're gonna go full R, right? Kianala says, good luck finding Chinese movies or TV series that has English subtitles. Why does my current fixation have to be in a different language? Why must you be so awesome, Sun Wukong? Right. Edo Sensei says, I printed that moon I have on the laptop. Chicken Tender says, yep, which is, that's still why it's the real gun, but then again, all it takes is a couple of drunk rednecks saying, let's build this because it would be cool. Kukan Tieso says, Texas and Oklahoma, guns are check yes for yes. Captain Rudy says, there are websites like printables.com where you can post print files of other people to use. Some other websites allow you to set up a paywall, so people have to pay a subscription in order for you to access print files. Kukan Kesso says, I need P80, my P80 needs to be finished. My SBR pistols are, well, legal, thanks ATF for ambiguity. Hello, thank you for the follow on Keldan. I need to set up that alert system. He's like, hey, Cosmet, got a jet, have a good one. Everyone else, have a good one. Oh, thank you for stopping by, Kura. I know you're probably long gone, but still appreciate that you dropped by. Chicken Tender says, I wish Iowa was better about guns. I'd love to be able to get a full auto or just forge some of the big boy rounds out here. But I'd be a poor boy. But fair enough. Chicken Tender, P80, need to look up later. Message got swallowed. Kupcon Kessa says, I have bought a 3D printer stuff that was not owned by the printer. My Jabba the Thick must have. Hello, Renegade Shuriken, right? We're talking about 3D printing. Let's see. 3D printed Frogan. That's a horrifying idea. Go to school. Fair. Let's see. Kubukanteso says they went under as a company, if I recall correctly. They had shite customer service. Kubukanteso says, lol, those Big Macs were extra cost. Frogan is lipstick on pig, full haram. You'll never go full haram. Let's see. I got something that I can't put in their mouth. God damn it. Onkel says, hey, let's be fair here. People that come up with shit deserve compensation for it. I mean, yes, but the compensation comes from more or less, the compensation should come from, the actual service rendered, not the intellectual property itself, right? Because functionally speaking, intellectual property actually encourages laziness, because once you make something, there's less of an incentive to make more things. This is why you have oftentimes authors sometimes make a really good book, they get quite a bit from it, and then they just don't make anything else. There's been many occasions like that. Looks like some Warhammer shit. Let's see. I'm sure Frogan has plenty of cheese. There's goes my lunch. Not so easy. Iowa doesn't have a lot of great paying jobs, and I've got a decent job for where I live, but not enough to pay for the house and other things. That is a concrete counter example. Let's see. Bupela, salutations, your highness. God damn it. Hello, Bupela. I love Cathedral Song. Oh, thank you. Only country video, anything, only country that vetoes anything in the U.S., yeah. Being here, there in 2015 was eye-opening. I had to fudge my in-country records to show I was not former military. Fair. We're almost caught up. Let's see. Wait, P80 was a company, and yes, Frogan is full haram. Perhaps we should change our mindset, such an assembling one ourselves. Heard a fair enough. Damn. I came in late, missed the beginning. Fair enough. Damn it. Hello, Sequence Girl. Sorry, I'm accidentally getting Boo Huckley to drink every time I say a particular phrase. But I can't help but seal clap. I love to do that. I want to be able to build a .357 semi-auto gun for deer hunting. Ooh, that sounds really nice. P80 is also a ubiquitous term, but there was a company, polymer80.us.com is the old site. Let's see. Kupkan Kissa says, a prostitute doesn't get paid for the creation of the Vagu, only the use of it. Well, that's true. The problem with the intellectual property laws is that, again, property is something that is made for scarcity purposes. It's like the exact function it serves, to distinguish possession from ownership. The problem is ideas aren't scarce by definition. Let's see. Then why come up with shit if people can just copy it and make money out of it if you ain't gonna get anything out of it? Well, the same reason people have been doing that for literally since before copyright was really an issue. Right? People still invented, people still made, people still did all this. Oftentimes they were just smart enough not to let their blueprints and plans out. That way, again, they would be the ones to have the keys and actually make money off of it. Just because you figure out how to do something doesn't necessarily mean you have to tell everyone how it's done. Let's see. Onkel says, it's a debatable issue, to be fair. Yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Kubcon Kissa says, anytime I love spreading good info on pew-pews. Love my aromatherapy. Kionella says, I have to head to bed. Good night, Cosmic. You have a good night, Kionella. Cubecon Queso says, dang it, I used there instead of there. I had the olds. Captain Rudy, okay, we're almost there. There was a website like printables.com where you can post your print files. Wait, okay, we already read this. And then Buckley said, is 3D printing the most efficient statue maker? It depends. How many are you trying to make?
It's quite a vision. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it means something. I don't know.
A 3D printer is a tool, not a shortcut, like AI. It is something that I have seen amazing things come out of. I have seen the most amazing Warhammer figurines that are printed, but then painted and sanded and look beautiful. We also have to mention the origins of 3D printing. Prototyping, building things that are going to be used in a bigger application is a huge part of 3D printing and an amazing use of it. A 3D printer also saves cosplayers and designers a bunch of time in trying something. But those people are craftsmen and artists. They're just using this to save themselves time and make better art. Something I want to mention is that...
Okay, so then what was the complaint the rest of this video?
You hear that? You better not be fucking 3D printing shit unless you're an artist. You hear that, chat? You better have a high rank art skills. You even dare to buy a 3D printer. What the fuck's wrong with you?
3D printing is not new at all. It's something that you're seeing everywhere, especially in your wife's boyfriend basement, and of course with the rock memes. But
really, in your wife's boyfriend's basement? Okay, I see what caliber of person we're dealing with here.
It's been around since like 1985 when a guy named Dr. Hideo Kodama and then...
Yeah, we should have licenses. We should have, what we should do is we should set up like licenses where like you have to prove that you're like an amazing artist or a cosplayer, you have some kind of art skill before you're even allowed to buy a 3D printer. True, real and true.
Short after, a man named Chuck Hall would go on to create...
You have to graduate. You have to graduate from art school, and then you can get a 3D printer. It's like a requirement to buy one. Yeah.
To be fair, she's doing a reductio ad absurdum for like rhetorical purposes, right?
Resin printing. The STL file format actually is still used today.
AI too. Yeah. True. In fact, you can't even use AI if you're a programmer. Only artists. Only art school people can use AI.
Today, when we're printing, the most common printer...
But then they can use writing. They can use writing AI, and they can use programming AI.
I do have our conversation with Ember Paradox on AI as like used by writers in the queue. There's a bunch of these technology videos I kind of want to react to. And the 3D printing one is, again, just to show it's like, hey, the criticism of AI is not unique. A lot of this was also leveled at 3D printing.
You can't. Only artists. Does writing count as an art skill, Leaf? You want a 3D printer? No, sorry. Writing is just writing. That's not the same as real art. Jackler. Thank you for the bits, though. Thank you.
She is mistaken here, but that's because she is committing a category error.
Yeah.
You're going to see is actually called an FDM printer. It's the extrusion kind and not the kind that they were using back then. This style of printing, FDM, is only possible because of an open source project called RepRap, which was not too long ago, which essentially sought to make 3D printing accessible to anyone. This project was originally aimed at like colleges or libraries or community centers, whatever it may be, to get
accessible to everyone, but colleges, libraries, community center. Right.
People interested in science and making things. Like almost all open source projects, though, obviously there's going to be bad actors.
Iron Tiger says, I have some art degree. Would you like some fries with that? Yes, Iron Tiger, I would. Honestly.
Holy shit, Iron Tiger's in here. I love seeing Iron Tiger's shit on Twitter. I love seeing how he fucking messes with these people.
I would love some fries right now, but everything's closed.
I really would too. Oh my god, I love potatoes. Spuds are fucking fruit of the gods, right? If spuds are good at anything, you get a baked potato with a lot of cheese in it. Oh my god, it's so good. You got mashed potatoes, that's good. You got French fries, those are good. You got potato wedges. Oh my god, those are good. I'm sorry, my 1/16th Irish kicked in and I have a massive need for potatoes.
Going to be people coming in looking to milk every single dollar they can out of it, and unfortunately that's what's happened to 3D printing. This is not necessarily...
Well, it turns out love of money is apparently evil. Right, except unless that love of money is the state loving your money, in which case you have to give it up, right?
unique to 3D printing, as I've documented on this channel
Ooh,
before.
some tots. Who has tots right now?
Oh, that's another good. That's another good one.
Has tots, right? I think Sonic's closed though.
But it is a problem that is growing, and it's kind of going everywhere at the same rate AI is. It's just not talked about as much. I hope that I'm not misunderstood as some.
Yeah, you're gonna see this is talked about. It's just not as in the open.
You know, essentially moaning about when electronic music was invented or something like that. Because I'm trying to say that it's different using a tool versus a shortcut. A lot of people are just using 3D printers as a shortcut without.
You could argue that digital art is a shortcut, but with Photoshop and Illustrator. But I digress, right? Someone who actually draws by hand. I digress on that because I also do vectoring.
It's bad about shortcuts. See, I guess I just disagree with this entire premise. I disagree with the entire premise that shortcuts are bad.
This all goes back to the idea that like pain and suffering and time are somehow sacred when no, they're not. They're really not. This goes back to the processionalist argument of art is a process, not a thing in and of itself, in which case it's like, well then why do I give a shit about what the art is, right? If it's a process and not a thing, then there's no point in critiquing art because I don't have any access to the process. Also, yeah, it goes back to that, right?
I actually don't think process really matters that much. Personally, I don't know. I don't really care about it. I don't think it really adds up any value to the end consumer.
Spending the time.
Yeah, because like in reality, when someone is actually a customer, they're not paying for your process unless they're a patron. Patronages is one thing. That's like the only time you're actually being paid for your process. You're being paid for commission. You're being paid for your output. You're being paid hourly. You're being paid for your time. You're being paid salary. You're being paid for your availability, right? As an artist, if you're working commission, no one gives a shit about your process. They're looking for an output. That's what you're being paid for, right? So it's like, again, if you want to be paid for your process, get a Patreon or a subscribe star. That's paid by patronage.
Time learning actually how to make things. I'm curious what you guys think. Is this just...
learn how to actually make things? It's like, my guy, if you learn how to make things with the 3D printer, you're still making things. Like, again, it's like, oh, it's removed from the hand of man. It's like, okay, so I guess a person like who, I guess people who've like become paraplegic can never do art anymore because all they can do is potentially command an AI to make art for them based on their own vision and ability to articulate their desire, right? What?
People want to do that and say like this is an artisanal thing, like 100% made by hand, and like people love that shit, to be honest.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like, there is something special about like 100% made by hand, but it's like, pragmatically speaking, if you're going to try to make a business, you can't rely on 100% made by hand, right? Because you actually have to produce, right? You can't just parasite off of, you can't just be part of the unproductive class, which a lot of artists are, and parasite off of the productive class. No, you have to be part of the productive class itself, right? But I digress.
I keep bringing back the same example of the pans and the knives, right? My cooking pans are handmade, like a person fucking took the metal and they used a hammer and they fucking hammered the pan. Like my cooking pans are like I've got these carbon steel cooking pans that are hammered. The handle is completely hammered, like hand hammered. All of it's hammered. My cooking knives are also like 100% like hand forged cooking knives. I don't think that they're better. Like I have stamped cooking knives and I think they're just as good, personally. Like when it comes to like actual utility of it, it's actually the same. But as a, I still value the artisanal, like kind of sentimental value behind like a handmade thing. And I think that's fine. I do think there's a distinction to be made there to say like, hey, this thing, I took a block of wood, this dragon, I took a block of wood and I carved it by hand. I carved it by hand, 100% hammer and chiseled it, filed it completely by hand. And I think that there's an appreciation in that, like there's an appreciation in that, and it does have like its own value, its own separate value, I think, right? And again, which is completely separate from like utility.
Yes, but it's not an all or nothing thing. Just because something is valuable because it's handmade doesn't necessarily mean something made by a machine isn't valuable as well, right? For distinct reasons.
Some people don't really care about the process. They only care about the thing. And some people really do care about the process, right? And I think that they're both equally important. in different ways. It just depends what kind of values like a person like would hold, right, for a specific, for like whatever that specific thing is, right? Because
as much as I've criticized processionalism, right, processionalism actually does have a use, and that particular use is that if you study the process, then you can see how an artist actually elicits a particular effect, right? And as a result, you can actually, again, improve your own craft by learning how they do what they do and then being able to replicate it through study and practice. But that's not what a processionalist often does in the arts. As an aesthetic theory, processionalism is one of those apophatic theories of art. I am more of an objectivist when it comes to art. I don't think art is subjective. I really don't, right? I don't really give a shit about what you meant to say. I care about what you said. Right? It's like intentionalism. Intentionalism is like, it's very useful in holding an artist to account. What did you mean to say is the question, right? You can ask the artist. Then you can turn and look what was actually made. Does this say and do what the artist intended? If yes, then he has succeeded. If not, he has failed in some regard. And we can learn from that failure or that success how to communicate what we are trying to communicate, right? How to actually concretize the metaphysic we are trying to concretize, to make what it is we envision correctly in a communicable way that other people can understand it. That's the appropriate use of intentionalism as a critical, as like a aesthetic criticism. Just like, again, processionalism has a place as an aesthetic criticism. They are not complete aesthetic theories, which some people do try to make them into. And they do that to avoid accountability, because this reduces it to a form of subjectivism, where you're no longer, since it's in the eye of the beholder, especially with intentionalism, then again, there's no standard other than perception to which you can hold the art to. But I digress.
Let me give you a good example, right?
Hold on. Before we continue, let me catch up with the chat, because it does seem like we've gotten a little out of hand here. Onkill says, but these days, unless you're gonna get anything out of it, people ain't gonna make shit free. I'm not entirely sure about that. It's not about being free. It's about the fact that, like, again, it's just not, it's categorically not the same kind of thing as property. Again, which is why it's like, it's not a free-for-all. I do think copyleft actually has a solution to this idea, and I'll do a video on copyleft one day and why it's superior to copyright, but that's for a different time. Captain Rudy says internet was sketchy, so wasn't sure if that one made it through. Not. Oh yeah, fair enough. Onkel said, I'm all for making things accessible for everyone, but sadly our type of government is never going to allow it. Our type of government will is not going to last forever. Let's say that. It will either have to bend or collapse under the weight of its own hubris. Boo Huckley says 1 to 25 statues. I would probably say at that point, well, I mean, if you get an injection mold and it's all the same statue, then it would be the injection mold probably. But the thing is like, if you're trying to do more than one thing, again, the printer is going to be more effective. Onkel says, look at any community that tried to make themselves independent. They got shot down quick. That's true. Torstwolf, heavy leering. Hello, Torstwolf. Right? Onkel says, either way, either you play along or you get effed, sadly. That's true. Secret Squirrel, hello there. There is a loophole law that makes possessing certain files for 3D printers a crime. It's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. Onkel says, our whole society is filled with bad actors. That's true. Secret Squirrel says, damn, she made me hungry. Agreed, right? Kubcon Kessel says, potato pancakes are a gift from the gods. I would agree. Squirrel says, fries deep fried in tallow. Yep. Sir Squinty Lion, hello there. Brother, I hopped into you talking about food. Now I'm hungry. Oh, sorry about that. Secret Squirrel says, damn, Leaf made me hungry with that comment about potatoes. Yeah. Let's see. I'm head out and get to sleep. Have a good night, Uncle. I'm pretty sure I missed that, but I hope you have a lovely day. Kubcon Kiss. Okay, hold on. Let's see. What if you're paid hourly as well as commission? Well, again, the different pays are for different things. So if you're being paid for both, you're being paid for two different things. Kubcon Queso says, asked, what all these modern commies don't get about capitalism is that time equals money if you're working hourly. if you are trading your time and you feel the pay is too low, you make the choice to go elsewhere. It isn't about fairness, it is about choice, same as being a buyer. And I would agree. Let's see. Ham the Third. Oh, came in late. I am too late to leer. Not too late necessarily, right? I'm probably going to finish this up, and this will probably be the last video for today. But, right, there's probably still time for more commentary.
How many of these people?
Assuming the thunderstorm doesn't, actually just, like, kick me off the thing.
Have plastic coat hangers. I'm sure a lot of them have these regular ass, like, coat hangers. They bought 100 of them from the store. They're not handmade. They're not handmade and nobody cares. There's nobody shaming people for saying, like, oh, I can't believe you bought those, like, mass-produced coat hangers. Mines are only made by hand in Sweden.
Yeah, but the made by hand is more expensive. It's easier to make the mass-produced stuff, and we all know this. And yes, that difference in cost is actually useful information to determine which one you should get, right? Boo Huckley says, is it true ranch seasoning is sacred in Texas? Well, I like ranch, right? I mean, ranch is usually associated with white people, and I'm a Tejano, right? But I love ranch. Oh my god! Anytime I get like chicken wings, I'm like, I need a ranch. I don't care if you put like hot sauce on it. I don't care like if you put any kind of like other thing on it. Ranch, damn it! I don't want any of that other stuff. I want the ranch, right? You give me French fries, give me ranch. Pizza. Oh, okay, maybe not that crazy. Sometimes pizza and ranch can go together. Not all the time, though. It depends on what's on the pizza. But ranch. Plastic hangers, I have those, right? I do too. Kubcon Queso says, no wire hangers. Leaflit has not seen Mommy Dearest. Oh my god. Right? Oh my god. For the people who were beaten with coat hangers as children, was it with the wire coat hangers or was it with the plastic coat hangers? I'd imagine the wire ones, so I'd imagine the plastic ones would break.
Right? Like, who does that? Like, nobody does that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my...
Again, these people don't live in the concrete reality. They live in their own abstraction that they confuse for being more real than the concrete reality.
Point is, a lot of it is just really smug, to be honest. A lot of it's really smug. Like, I love my pan. Like, I love my handmade pans. I love my handmade knives. I don't walk around to people's like kitchens and be like, this knife is not even handmade. What a peasant.
Ooh, wire hangers? Ah.
You see what I mean?
Fair enough, Coop.
You see what I mean? It's so smug. It's so smug and annoying. That's my point.
Yeah, it's vanity. All it is it's basically fucking... It's virtue mogging. That's all it is, right? It's virtue signaling for the purposes of, again, mogging your image, right? It's like that guy who went to Nigeria. Not to Nigeria. It's like that Nigerian guy who went with the drip. Now, to be fair, he frame mogged everyone he was in a picture with. Let's be perfectly honest, right? But he went there to fucking virtue mog everyone, right? It's like, yes, I'm implicitly better than everyone else here. That's like the entire point of it. This is what's effectively going on here. Right, that ranch rant was hilarious. I try to be funny, right? Let's see. Ham the Third barbecue. Fair enough. Long says, "What time is it?" Well, it is 22:34 for me. Let's see. Kubcon Queso says, also as a Hispanic, the belt and chancla are real core memory fears. Yeah. Let's see. Current time for me is 10:35, says Chicken Tender.
That's my whole point. Like, if you value the thing handmade, then value the thing handmade.
Exactly.
Why are you gonna go to someone else's house and be like, I can't... Oh, that door totally made in a factory. Like, ew. Like, bro, you know my clothes.
Oh, she does have a cute laugh. You're right about that, Dan. By the way, hello, Dan H. Brown.
Seamstress working in my sweatshop downstairs. I can't believe you don't have one. Unreal.
Oh, you don't have cucumber ranch dressing? How vogue.
unique to me? Am I being too cynical or too harsh on these
Oh my god, what is that? You just reminded me of the Legends of Advances fucking dressing joke.
people? And tell me what you think in the comments or in my Twitch stream. All right, bye-bye.
Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? It's so annoying and smug. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just so annoying and smug, dude. I can't believe it, man.
I mean, I would agree. Again, I think this is mostly an issue of like vanity, to be perfectly honest, right? Again, it's just virtue mogging. He's trying to, again, virtue signal to, again, make everyone else seem as if, you know, all these other people he disagrees with seem as if they're lesser. But it's like, they're probably not, to be perfectly honest, right?
Like, it's man. People on their manufacturer homemade. No, I actually think that there's a lot. I think some of them look really cool, like those kind of like manufactured modular like cube homes. They're kind of cool. Like I don't know. I think for their own purpose. Like for instance, like if I wanted to get like a house in like buttfuck Egypt, and like I didn't really need the house to look really nice. It's just like something like I want to like maybe go to every now and then. Yeah, sure, just to drop a thing there. Who cares, right? Like, who gives a fuck, right? But then there is like some kind of value in like a house that's actually like designed and architected by like a person, and like I want to live there because like it's kind of nice. I really like it, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right? It just depends.
It's different valuation systems, right? I don't really place as much emphasis on the human touch as some other people do. But again, I don't really believe in the magic of like the human spirit, to be perfectly honest, right? Is the human spirit important? Yes. Is it magic? No. No, it cannot really make meaning where there is none. It is that simple.
Luxurious leaflet arc when?
It also can't take away meaning from where it is.
It's just, dude, all of this is so snobby. Like, am I the only one that thinks that? It's so snobby. Like, it's so smug and so snobby every fucking time, man. Like, rage baiting rich.
Yeah, because the whole point is, like, we are your betters. That's literally the point.
Traditions is totally, man, totally.
Okay, so since hopefully this stays stable and okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. But yeah, that whole conversation we had earlier just reminded me of this. I fucking love Legends of Advantris, by the way. They fucking make me laugh all the time. But their animations are fucking absolutely hysterical. So, as a treat, if anyone here hasn't seen Legends of Advantris, here's a sample of one of their out of context like jokes.
My mom always says she wishes she'd had a daughter.
How often does she say that?
Every morning when I get up.
Can we get away from this depressing kid? Duncan, how many sauces do you have? We don't need sauces. I mean, it's a little dry. All right, sauces. What do you got?
We've got a chili pepper sauce.
Okay.
We have a buttermilk ranch.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh, do that.
We have a mango compote.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a mild, medium, and hot.
Okay.
We got yellow mustard.
Okay.
Dijon mustard.
Okay.
Hot mustard.
Okay.
Cajun mustard.
Okay.
Oh, you want to know the rest of them? We have a soy sauce.
Okay.
A
Oh my
berry
God.
sauce.
Okay.
Raspberry jam.
Okay.
Is there maybe a
We
sauce
have raspberry jelly.
you enjoy? You could add to
I want to know everything that's available to me.
Well, God.
Italian dressing.
Okay.
Thousand Island dressing.
There's a lot of items, okay.
Caesar dressing.
Okay.
You have French dressing.
No.
You ordered French dressing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I wanted. Oh, I guess I'll eat this dry. Thanks,
My mom always says she.
Oh man, I fucking love that joke so much. I think there's a lot of really funny jokes. Not all of them land, but there's a lot of really funny jokes from Legends of Advantris. So if you haven't seen them, give them a watch. They're actually really fucking funny. So Chicken Tender asked Gideon, who was the last person you killed? Might have been the clown. Yeah, exactly, right? Oh my god. That's another really funny one. The voice of the last person you killed tells you things about their life that no one wants to know. Kubcon Queso says Leaflit wants a bespoke manor with a well-insulated Quango pit. I only recently learned about Quango. Fair enough. But that was the blue. That was the one I want. Exactly. That was the one I wanted. Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah. So Oh wait, I forgot to end the episode. Okay, so that'll be the end of this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube later, I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a lovely day.